Well, hello listeners. I'm delighted today to be joined by Gareth Mee, CEO of Invenica. Now, Invenica are a firm who are heavily invested in solving business problems for their clients using emerging technologies. So Gareth, could you please introduce yourself and Invenica and give us a better insight into who Invenica are and what you guys do?
Okay, my name's Gareth Mee. I'm CEO for Invenica. Invenica is a systems integrator specialising in emerging technology. We have some 15 years heritage developing enterprise-grade applications, B2B and B2C, for large corporations, essentially helping them solve their business problems and challenges with new tech. We have a very heavy presence in media and telecom and been helping the media and telecom industry implement new products and services, streamline and improve their operations for many years now. From launching the first radio streaming music service across Europe to onboarding OTT providers and allowing telcos to charge to bill.
Thank you so much for that insight, Gareth. And one of the questions that I would like to go back to is something you earlier mentioned. You mentioned the telco sector, so could you please tell me a bit more about the exciting projects that are using emerging technology within this sector and maybe what opportunities are opening up for both consumers and businesses?
So there's some interesting things that are going on in the media and telco world surrounding emerging tech right now. Things like 5G, we've all seen the operators pushing 5G to the consumer. And that opens up a world of opportunity in terms of rich media communications, gaming, films, etc. And operators will continue to push that technology. Some things you can essentially split. I think you can split these things in two. It's technology that we can use to help the operational efficiency of the business. So we are advising and implementing automation around processes. Typical example of this would be in the customer service space, where we're trying to implement omni-channel virtual assistants to automate customer service and conversational AI that will allow companies to do that efficiently. Reducing operational cost and allowing your workforce to complement the machine and to improve and provide a rich and improved service for your customers. DLT, distributed ledger technology, and blockchain is an interesting space, and there's many POCs taking place across the telco industry right now. I think the media and telco industry are trying to work out what the best use cases are. And we're helping our customers identify those. And again, you can split those into business support projects or operational support projects and customer-facing products and service. On the operational side, then there's liquidity is important to any telco carrier. So automated financial reconciliation using blockchain is a very strong use case. This could be as simple as automating the financial reconciliation for your OTT providers, or taking that step further, it could be cross-border roaming between operators. And there's a lot of work going on in terms of exploration in that area. And then taking it to the product and service side, we're doing work now with a particular operator around identity and how you might monetize identity and KYC. By collaborating with other partners. If you think about the telco, then it's in a privileged position in terms of the information and data that it holds on individuals and consumers. In the future, you will see the consumer owning their own identity and choosing which services that they wish to be provided with. And as part of that process, there will be a KYC process where partners collaborate over a blockchain to identify and then provision the consumer with the service. So I think if you look at that, then it's an extension of what the telcos are already doing from an OTT basis. You may take that one step further and maybe in the future we're looking at digital communities with a digital asset or digital currency where consumers can access whatever service they want through a collaboration of partners, for example. Then there's the bigger question or the bigger topic around, what business models of the future, and for many, many years, there's been a debate about the merger of banking and telco and media. We've already seen this is in existence. Orange is running a very successful bank in France. What are the opportunities to take this a step further with a digital currency? And we've seen some recent collaborations exploring this, for example. So not only are you creating a digital community where your users can procure services from a collaboration of partners, but essentially you could allow a digital currency to enable transaction and trading within that community.
Thank you so much for enlightening us with that. So why do you think telcos in particular are poised to harness the power of emerging tech, and how are telcos working in partnership with other sectors such as financial services?
Yeah, so leading on from the discussion we're having around telco and banking, then there are some key points to elaborate on. Obviously, a telco is in a unique position because it knows where you are, and essentially it knows what you're doing. So if you combine that with a financial risk profile, then you have the ability to provide a proactive and personalized service to any one consumer, making, around financial planning, financial wellness, but also the promotion of products and services, the right products and services for them. So that's just an extension of that particular use case or conversation. I mean, banking in telco is essentially nothing new. If you look at Africa, then we've had mobile money for some time, and interestingly enough, in the regions where mobile money has been most successful, for example, Kenya, is where the telco has been responsible for that service and promoted that service. In other countries such as Nigeria, it's the banks that have done it. But the telcos are more digitally aware or mature, and that enables them to provide or produce a better service. So mobile money, M-Pesa, is nothing new. But there is right now that works with the banks underwriting it, so you have to have a bank account. But if you think about the amount of people, and not just in the developing world, in our world too, in the UK and Europe, then there's a lot of people that are what we would call unbankable, don't have bank accounts. So you take a use case or you explore that use case or business model further. Is there an opportunity for the telcos to offer consumers, the unbankable, a bank service that is underwritten by a digital currency? Maybe that's I know we've had that conversation. I've had that conversation with our partners and some customers. It's an ongoing debate. It's maybe some time away, but I'd certainly we're doing some more. We're having some more conversations that will be available, some webinars and some physical events, and certainly some of these use cases and topics around DLT and currency we're going to be talking about in the coming months.
Absolutely. Data security especially is so important for both businesses and consumers across industries. With emerging tech such as 5G enabling massive amounts of data to be created, can you share use cases around data transfer and security?
So that I just wanted to expand on that a little bit further, and thank you for asking, Hayley. There are other things that are happening within from an innovation perspective. We talked about security, and there are use cases that have been discussed around 5G and and securitizing cross-border data. And there's a use case for DLT and blockchain. Those are certainly being explored right now. Going back to location, we talked about location in relevance to offering a personalised financial service potentially to consumers, but there's other use cases there as well. So you look at security. If we can look, the telco has data about what you're doing, where you're doing. So it can build up patterns of usual consumption around a particular device or phone. And that is useful for families, and where you might spot a irregular pattern of use, maybe for one of your siblings or children, and that's quite important from a security perspective. And there's also a business use case for managing the consumption of certain types of data. And I've seen some very interesting technology recently from some MVNO players. Business-to-business MVNO players, where they can split down content into categories and even further into individual sites that people are using. So there's that use case as well. So there's lots going on. There's both the bigger picture and the future operating business model, which will continually be discussed. For a telco finance and treasury perspective, then there's conversations about how can we release capital, because capital is king for the telco, and is the answer to that tokenizing and providing digital assets to do that around roaming and financial reconciliation around partners.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gareth. And I just wanted to ask you another question on this topic. So how is emerging tech helping to achieve better customer service?
Obviously, what's going on in the more immediate landscape today, around new products and services being provided by 5G, and the ability that new network bandwidth gives to media and telco providers to provide richer services for their consumers. And of course, then touching on the operational or business support side of your business. I think I talked about the savings that automation and AI would drive, and we used the customer service explainer or example, but it's not just about operational savings, it's about improved customer service. So if I ring into a contact centre, I call into a contact centre, and the first thing I hear is, "Hello, how may I help you?" My call's been answered first time. I'm not in a DTMF queue. I'm not being asked to press 1, 2, 3, 4 for this. I'm actually answered first time. And I talk to the virtual agent as though I talk to a human being. And for 70% of the common use cases, the virtual agent can resolve my query. But in whatever communication style I choose, whether that's voice, whether that's messenger, whether that's SMS. And ultimately, we're talking about improved customer service and therefore improved customer retention. And that's imperative for the telco. In many cases, in many parts of the world, there's volumes of calls that don't even get answered and call drop-off. So this in its very essence it means that first step of customer service is achieved. Hello, how may I help you?
So what do you believe is on the horizon for Invenica operating in the DLT space, and what is your perspective on distributed ledger technology?
I'm going to come back to DLT because that's going to be a specific focus of ours for the coming months. Talking specifically about use cases within the media and telco industry, and we'll be doing a webinar and white paper later in the year on that topic. But it's interesting because everyone's trying to work out the best use. There's many different pilots and proof of concepts going on across the industry, and very exciting ones. It's an interesting time. It will be a significant disrupting technology. And we talk about DLT because DLT, distributed ledger technology, is not just blockchain. There's many platform providers out there that are producing some pretty good tech platforms. I think no one really knows what the predominant technology platform will be in the future. And it's very important that you make the right choice in terms of platform, or indeed you ensure that platform is interchangeable in the future. DLT is not, and I've read some interesting reports recently, so I can't claim this is my own thinking, but it's certainly right. DLT is not an out-of-the-box product, so unlike 5G, which is an increase in bandwidth, which allows you to do some really exciting things for the consumer and business-to-business applications thereof with IoT and edge computing. DLT is a technology. It's application that businesses are using to try and solve certain use cases. And it's trying to pick the most or the best use case for your business, and then underlying that, the best DLT for that particular use case. And this is where Invenica is spending a lot of time investing a lot of its time advising its customers, but not just in isolation. We're collaborating with our partners to do that. It's very important. The whole concept of blockchain or DLT is about collaboration between partners, business partners, and that should certainly be the same with the technology and the application of the technology. So it's not just Invenica talking. When we're talking in consultation and in collaboration with our partners, and we'll be doing more of that in the future and talking more in the next few months about exactly that. So I look forward to talking to you in the coming months.
So thank you to those who've listened in today, and thank you to Gareth as well for your lovely insights. They have been wonderful and very interesting. Now, if our listeners want to find out more about Invenica and the emerging technologies that they're involved in, please visit www.invenica.com. There, underneath Discover, you can find our recently published white papers, case studies, and also in the news. And if you'd like to discuss further about emerging technologies, please do not hesitate to contact us.